The Board of Education to order. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Griever.
Here.
Mr. Holloway.
Here.
Ms. Klein.
Here.
Mr. Matheson.
Here.
Mr. Robinson.
Here.
Mr. Clifton.
Here. All right, with that being said, at this time, we'll stand for a moment of silence. And I'll ask Mr. Holloway if you'll lead us in the pledge to the flag, please. Mr. Holloway?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, I'd like to welcome everyone to the September meeting of the Board of Education. And the next thing on our agenda will be the public comments. And I'm just going to start the way they're stacked up here. So our first one will be Casey Sutherland.
Hello.
Hi there.
Thank you guys for everything that you do for our system, first of all, and our children as well. And thank you for allowing me to speak before you tonight. My name's Casey Sutherland. I am the president of the Johnson County Education Association currently. And I have presented a petition for Ms. Warren to give to you all. It's supposed to go to the chairman, but with tonight being a switch of chairman, I wasn't sure who to pass that off to, so I hope it's up there.
We've got it.
Okay, there are 97 county certified employees on that petition right now. And the petition is regarding the Collaborative Conferencing Act. As the board knows, Tennessee law recognizes a collaborative relationship between the board and its professional employees. And we would like to assist in establishing the maintenance of an educational climate and working environment that will help to attract and retain highly qualified educators in our county. Collaborative Conferencing, or PECA, recognizes the obligations of the board and its teachers to collaborate on matters relating to the terms and conditions of professional employee services, and sets forth the process whereby we can work together towards producing an agreement or memorandum of understanding on issues such as salary, insurance, and working conditions. By turning in these signatures, we signify the desire to begin this collaborative process with you guys. And we hope to join the dozens of other school systems across our state who have completed this process and formed a ratified memorandum of understanding between the districts and its employees. The law puts the burden on educators to obtain signatures to start this process, and those had to be submitted before October, so our signature quota has been met. As the board knows under law, once this petition has been submitted to you, the board then has the duty to appoint an equal number of board members and professional employees to serve on a special question committee who will set up the conditions and particulars for conducting that confidential poll of all eligible professional employees in our district. The confidential poll is a vote by teachers about whether or not they would like to engage in collaborative conferencing. And as president of the association, I would be honored to accept an appointment along with Michael Eggers and Kayla Hensley to be on that special question committee if you all see fit to do that. Again, thank you so much for allowing us to speak, and thank you so much for everything that you do for our county.
Thank you. Ms. Sutherland, we will, this is going to be new to us as well. So we will start that process, and at this point I'm going to pass this off to you guys to where we can take care of that in the coming months. All right, our next speaker is Christopher Jones.
Yeah, I was just wanting to find out if the teacher at the middle school has been reprimanded for her actions.
You want to address that, Ms. Simcoe?
Like was discussed at the last meeting, there was a meeting with the teacher. That is a personnel issue, but there was a meeting with the teacher.
So it's just a meeting, she's not been reprimanded.
She was not reprimanded because she didn't do.
Okay, now this is to the board. Why is Michelle still sitting there if she cannot perform her job duties?
What incident are you talking about that
About the
happened?
teacher with the school, at the middle school?
Oh, the choir?
Yeah.
I don't
So,
have an answer to
she's
that.
neglecting to do her job duties. Why not reprimand the teacher, the choir teacher, for her actions? So, y'all gonna do anything? Because you have the right where she's neglected her job duties. The board has the right to fire her by law. You can revoke her contract. So, y'all need to do something.
Hey, Chris, could you be a little more clear on when you said revoke the contract?
By law, and I have spoken to Timothy Hill about this, by law, where Michelle has neglected to do her job duties by reprimanding the teacher, she's failed to do so. So with that being said, you all have the right to revoke her contract. Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Well, Chris, all I can say is, if you can give us some time, I mean, I know, speaking for myself, it's my first day on this side, and we want to do due diligence for you and answer your questions, you know, but I can't answer it today because I don't have the answer. I mean, we can look at contracts and look at stuff, and everybody meet and talk and see what's what, and we can maybe get a more in-depth idea of what was actually done or is there to do, you know. I can't give you any answers today. I'm
Well, I
sorry.
think it would just probably be cheaper for y'all to buy Michelle's contract out anyway, since apparently nothing's gonna be done other than just buy her contract out. You just can do that, which would be cheaper than a lawsuit, cause it's coming.
Will you give us some time to everybody to look at it? I mean, I don't have the answers,
Well, I know you and Chad's new to the board, so yeah.
but give us time, and maybe we can come back with an educated answer as to what is what. You know?
Okay. And you all, I mean, people in the central office, they think they know the laws more than a state representative, but they're badly mistaken. What the board needs to do is research laws instead of trying to make their own.
Can you give us till next month to have an answer?
And I'll be back to the next meeting next month. Okay.
We'll look at it. I mean, I have a lot to catch up on and learn still yet. So I don't have the answers. I don't know if anybody else does. I'm just speaking up because I need to give you an answer of some sort, and that's the only one I really got today myself. I don't know if anybody else has anything else to put into it.
Okay. Well, next month, we'll discuss it again. All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. All right, our next speaker is Lena Dunn.
She's
Shaking
shaking her.
her head, no, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. All right, we'll move on to our next one. And our next is Jonathan Lewis.
Hello, I want to congratulate the new members
Thank you.
for your position, and I hope and pray that you're going to do very well. It is time for change. Bottom line, it's time for change. There is too many things that's hidden. It needs to be out in the open. This stacking all these changes that you're going to make all on one agenda, where it's an ice maker or a water fountain or whatever you want to get for a school, and you go and you stack all these rule changes and all this stuff hidden in that. That needs to be broke down, one thing voted on at a time. And if you don't know the answer, if you don't know for certain that what you're voting yes to, then table it. do your research and stop this piling all this stuff together just because you feel guilty that a school needs a water fountain or a school needs a new roof. And you make 20-some rule changes at one time and you don't even know what the rule changes was. Have no idea. I've talked to board members that didn't even know those rule changes even been made. I'll use this as an example, and then I'll hush. If you go to buy a new car, you got your eye on your new car, and you've got to have it. You go in and you talk to that slick salesman. He sets you up, he gets you all set up, and you're happy. He goes to adding on them add-ons. Let's get you a $1,200 ceramic coating. We can tack that on your bill. You ain't got to pay for it today. Then you think, well, okay, that sounds all right. Let's get some of this accessory stuff going on. You think you come out there because your bill only went up just a little bit. Then 5 years down the road, when you get that car paid for, you get to peeling that back and you look how much you lost. How much ground you lost because you didn't read all that fine print. And how much it actually cost you. That's what I see is going on in the school system. You are agreeing to stuff and not really looking into it and finding out exactly what kind of changes are being made. And how many rights are taken away from parents. My son, last school year, had got into an altercation. 2 weeks after this had started, I found out about it. Then the next thing you know, he's got 3 days ISS. I am a firm believer that you don't go to school to fight. You go to school to learn. That's what it's there for. It's an establishment to learn. He was talked to, everything was done, reprimanded and everything before I knew anything about it. Because according to the school handbook, it's the school's right to be a parent in my absence. I don't agree with that, not one bit. I told my son in front of 2 people at that school, your administration, if you get in any more trouble, because this is my way of saying, hey son, fighting's not right. You could have reached out to me sooner, and we could have handled this without it being a problem. I said, if you get in any more trouble at all, then I have no problem that $500 is spent for you to go to Washington, D.C., you won't go to D.C. Well, then D.C. trip comes around. I'm thinking this boy's been the best thing. And hey, he's a boy. That's understandable. D.C. comes around, and I didn't know a thing about it, and that's my fault. Because I should have been looking closer into things. And that's more of that blind trust with the school system. Come to find out, him and some of his buddies got into trouble, smarted off somehow or another, and got an hour of ISS. Over something, and I never did get clarity on what that was. But you know how I found that out? They had gave him an unexcused absence on his D.C. trip. And his mama was at my donkey wanting to know why he was getting unexcused and him on the D.C. trip. So I'm calling and saying, hey, I brought that boy to school and dropped him off to get on the bus. Did he not get on there? Oh, well, that was a mistake. Well, then we got to look and we see this ISS thing. I told my son if he got into any trouble, he was not going on that trip. Now, the school took it up on themselves. Oh, it's not that bad. We're going to put it in his file that he had an hour ISS, 1 class of ISS. But it's not that bad to tell the parents. Do you think that boy's going to come home and tell me he'd got in trouble? Why, no. Growing up, if I got in trouble at school, and most people around here, if they got in trouble at school, do you know what they worried about mostly? That bus ride home. Because they knew that that would beat them home whatever they had done. And when they got home, that's what they had to worry about. They were supposed to respect that school and fear what would happen to them if they didn't show the respect. This school system is letting laws, lobbyists, or whatever it is, tie the hands of parents. Now that made me out to be a liar to my son. He had not went on that school trip if he'd got in trouble, if I knew about it. Now you was tied my hands on that and made me out to be a liar to my own son. There's a lot of your policies you change, and parents don't even have no idea what's going on. One thing I noticed there, and I read the back of it, is about this given 3 minutes. But your beans ain't burning. Get them off the stove before you come in here. Quit acting like you've only got 45 minutes to deal with everybody and deal with the public. We talk about chaos. Oh, we don't want no chaos. The way to keep chaos down is to hear people. And stop making all these decisions for all these people in this county based upon one or two people sitting on this board. It's time for a new chairman. Now, you can do what you want to, but it's time for a new chairman. And it's time for you people to wake up and realize the people in this county do not want what, like that lawyer said, using California for an example. There's nobody in this county wants that same garbage they got going on in California right here in this county. Now, you'll have a wonderful evening, and thank you for letting me talk.
Thank you.
All right, our next speaker is Scott, I'm gonna say Farrow, am I right, Farrow?
Yep, you got it. Thank you, Board, for allowing me to speak. I'll keep my comments brief. In the August board meeting, everybody remembers the citizens brought forth their concerns to the board. The board asked for time to investigate, and on a working session was set to relay the findings of that investigation. At the working session, there was little to no additional information shared with the community. I'm formally requesting a full and public disclosure of that investigation and the findings of that investigation, including any transcripts of any interviews, of course, redacting names where appropriate. And I would like that to be made public both in electronic and paper form. And I'll see the rest of my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is John Kuchar.
So are we gonna be able to get him to his question?
Yes, we will have to retract a lot of things because it's student information.
But you'll
It'll be
able
very
to-
similar to what you all were shared in the investigation, the notes from investigation that were emailed to you all the next day. That will be what we shared.
Okay. Floor is yours.
Hold on just a minute. John, give me just a moment, please.
Sure, go ahead.
Is there any way that we, as a board, can talk to these kids that were interviewed?
I will have to find that out legally, just because we're talking about students.
Yeah.
And, you know, of course, when we did that investigation, they called and got parental permission. So there would have to be parental permission as well.
Okay,
But I'll be happy to find that out.
okay, thank you.
Hey, John.
I just want to welcome the new members. Congratulations. The task you have before you is significant and extremely important. And because of its importance, I just wanted to take a minute for something I think is equally as important. I'm just going to take a minute, and I'd like to pray over this board meeting because I think that we need to invite the Lord in this. It's His will we seek, and He says where two or more are gathered in His name, He will be there. And I know there's more than two here. So this time I'd like to invite Him to join us. Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you for this day. We want to thank you for every filled seat in this room. We ask that you bless this meeting, that you give wisdom and knowledge and discernment where it's needed. And we ask that you ease tensions and heal hearts that need to be healed. And Lord, we can't do any of this without you. It's your will that we seek. And we know that we ought not, rely on our own understanding, but seek yours in everything. So it's in Jesus' name I just like to pray all these things. Amen.
Thank you, John. Our last speaker will be Ms. Donna Cross.
Well, mine is somewhat different. Everybody knows I've missed a couple of board meetings because of family issues and being at the hospital with my family. So here we go. We had Miss Tina here said that we had money and could put it back because Mike Reese made a motion. You said they could do it. You said they could do it to put money back to do my parking lot at Laurel School. Something's wrong. It's not done. Y'all surveyed it.
And the architect is actually involved with it, and they actually met with the
Well,
architect,
When are they
Wednesday.
gonna give the reading? I mean, it's been since January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. 9 months. Surely to goodness, something could have been done within 9 months.
Donna, it's in the hands of the architect.
Well, we should have got the architecture there in January. You know, I have been keeping an eye on this, and I really, because the next excuse is going to be, oh, it's cold, it's winter, they don't do this. I am so tired of Laurel being swept underneath the rug. And that's what we are, swept underneath the rug. Now, since you had the money put back, there's no excuses. None whatsoever. Architecture or not, you should call. Hey, I'm a very aggressive person. I've been calling him 2 or 3 times a day or every day, because I'm very aggressive and very assertive person. When you gonna get down there? I'll meet you down there. But I don't think that, you know, anybody thinks that it's important, and it is. My other thing is, we mentioned the gym, how we have cracked tiles, and doing a walkthrough at the school, because you know we've had parent conference, we've had other things where they come from your chapter 1, different things. Our hallways need new tile. I don't want a yellow tile. I don't want a green tile. I want nice tiles for the highway and for that gym. Same thing goes with several of the classrooms. We need to make tiles to match all of the classroom. There's no reason why. If everybody else can have these, and we see pictures, and we all know why Doe's roof was done, at least I do. We see how they did. Then we saw how Mountain City, my gosh, let's get on Laurel. Dote about Laurel. Nobody's doting but me. And it's sad. It's sad. And you know, I said this once before, but everybody needs to be ashamed of themselves. Just ashamed. That one school, we have grown in numbers, can't get what it needs. The other thing is books. I looked at Emma's book. I can go to Walmart and get a workbook just the same as what she's working in. We need textbooks. There's no reason, and use the workbook as a side thing. We need textbooks. I don't know why we don't have any, and then I found out the other day, you know, we have no science books, no science workbooks, no science nothing. So if all these other kids have books, then I want ours to be updated and have books. It wouldn't hurt to have the hardback textbooks. This would not hurt nobody. So again, we are being swept underneath the rug and nothing is done. Nobody is standing. And like I said before, if I have to stand up here every meeting and tell y'all how ashamed you should be and what you're all not doing, I will. Then we have, you know, we have a few assistants in the county. You know, we have a thing out here that does background check. What's the excuse for several of them not having background check? Is it because we're low in staff?
Wait a minute, back up.
Yeah, we
Are there
have
people
some.
in our school systems
Yeah.
without background checks?
Yes,
No.
yes.
No, all employees, when they go through the hire process, they immediately go through the
No,
background
one
check.
was told that we were in such a hurry not to worry about it.
No, that is not true.
Can you give
Well,
us the
if
name?
you can give me a name, we can check on that, but that is.
I will give you a name afterwards, but
Yeah.
I know there's not been one, because I believe her.
You'll- if you'll
Because
just let me
right
know.
here, the majority of these people, not you, Chad, not you, and you've been honest, John, but the majority of these people, it's like, who's the one that was talking about transparent and being faithful,
All
being
of us.
truthful, being, you know, you gotta do that. So we have got to make sure they are. Then, I'm just wondering why, just why every school, some has more than one RTI. Laurel has nothing. Where's the RTI teacher?
You do.
They have a 60% RTI teacher.
60%.
Who is that?
Miss Moorfield.
Well, she's 120 days. When's she gonna start? Our kids are going.
She has
She's been there.
Okay, well, I haven't seen her and I've been down there.
Where's Dr. Eggers? Dr. Eggers? Yes. Miss Moorfield has been there.
She is not there this week.
But we need a full-time, because these kids are getting behind. I want a full-time RTI, not a part-time, a full-time. If the other schools can have one that is full-time, Laurel can. And, you know, and I know she's a 120-day worker, and I know we have somebody down there for the teachers 120 days. Well, if it's money, get rid of 120-day ones, put their salaries there, get us one, get us a full-time one. These kids need to thrive just like any other kids. And that's not a lot to ask, because I'm down there, I talk to teachers, you know. We need them.
Donna, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm kind of confused. So with your RTI, which I granted have a lot to learn. My kids have been out for a minute, and I never really understood the RTI thing. I learned a little bit more this morning. I have a lot of learning to do. So you're saying you have one RTI teacher for the whole school?
Well, about evidently 50-60%, maybe not even that much.
So you all don't get to break it down? Like, how many is at the other schools, Angie?
At Doe, there's 2 people that split a position, so 50, each person's 50%. Like, one person will work one day, you know.
So
like
you
somebody's
have
there every day.
RTI going on for every period of the day?
We do there, and the reason that is 60%, so we have it's federal guidance. You have to have what's called supplement, not supplant, and we also have to meet comparability. And so with that, you have to calculate how many positions that you need, like based on the number of students that you have. And so you cannot be serving one school more than another, if that makes sense, like because of the attendance. So
Well, I'll meet with you one day,
Sure,
and
absolutely.
I would like to learn
Now,
more about it so I can answer you.
This is my thing. You got these people, 120 days, coming in and doing whatever. I don't care. 120 days, let them be RTI. These teachers went to school to be a teacher. Like I went to school to be an OT. I didn't have a babysitter. If they have any questions, you got your principal back there that is kind and will help. You have the other teachers that will help and mentor. Put them RTI. You have Linda, you have Miss Robinson, put them RTI. Let them float different days. That way, they will have. There's no reason why there is not a full-time one. If you have to do, like she said, 50% and 50%, okay, we have her 50 and 50. That's 240 days. School is usually 180 days. Right there's the answer for that.
They do receive RTI every day. All students receive RTI
Who
every
gives it to
day.
them? Lily, she's not a teacher.
It's based upon, it's an RTI model, and so we use what's called the walk to learn
Okay,
model,
but
where
who was there
everybody
today?
goes.
Who was there today? I mean,
But
but
teachers
no.
and assistants can provide intervention.
But your teachers have got to teach classes.
Not during that time.
It doesn't matter. They got to have their work hour where they're planning, where they're
It
doing
doesn't
their
happen during
So-
that time.
They have that.
But I'd say, for the RTIs, for the people that are 120 days and do the RTI. Because these teachers, these students need help, and the teachers are doing the best they can. And they're sending things home for us to help them. Thank goodness they are. Because I tell you, I asked mine, I said, do you not get this? Do you not do that? Well, she said, I'd rather not say. Well, you'd rather not say because you don't want to get nobody in trouble, or you don't want me to run my mouth? She said, yes. So I know that these 120 days people. They can be the RTI. That's what they went to school for. Or if you really want to get a little technical, let's look at the 120 days that's working at home, checking everybody's email. Let's look at that one. No, don't tell me no. You got your the one that used to be your preschool. So don't tell me no. I know what she does because I ran into her. So don't tell me no. So she's not in a school. So this is what we're talking about, being truthful. Nobody should have to call you down to be truthful. You should be truthful yourself. So this line, this everything has just got to stop for our kids. So that's my thing about RTI and all. And if you ask me, whenever I met Miss Robinson years ago, she's a very good teacher. She would be one for RTI. She was very, very good. And she helped me out a lot with a lot of things. So I have nothing against her. Linda Moorfield, have nothing against her. Put him for RTI. These are teachers. And I'd like to know, and I'd like to see if they are, and I'd like a thing, when are we going to start on our gym, or classrooms, or hallways, and our parking lot?
On the parking lot, I have a question on that. I feel like I'm talking a lot, but I got a lot of questions too. So in May, the architect went out. The May meeting, he had been there. It's all okay, everything was good and kosher, but like Donna said, that's 4 months. So do we need to find a new architect that actually can move?
The architect's in the process of working on it.
Of what? In process of what is he actually doing? Can I talk to him?
Yeah, Dustin was with him day before yesterday.
I'd like to talk to him
Yeah.
Where's
myself.
Leon at?
I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
Where's Leon at? He's the one on that project.
Well, Leon's not here tonight, but Dustin has been overseeing it as well.
I would prefer to do myself talking to him.
Yeah.
What?
He'll be happy to talk to you.
Architect, to see, like, cause if it's just a holdup, because if he went out there in May and said it was fine, but it's September,
Well, there's a process, you know, they had to do.
I have friends that are architects,
Yeah,
but
they had to do the topography, what they just have done, and they're getting ready to bid it out. And he said the bid will have to be.
So what
so the
did they
bid's
say
not
how
with that
fast it
Shank
could be
and
done?
Shanky or whatever you call
Shaw
it.
and Shanks, he will bid that out.
Who
That is
will?
Shaw and Shanks.
Are we gonna get numerous bids?
Yes, it'll come through the architect and then he'll do the lowest.
Who,
I was
the
Shaw
told,
and
architect
Shanks.
makes the decision?
No.
No, they'll bring it to us. They'll bring us the
So
three
they
bids.
won't make a decision?
No, they'll bring
And then
us.
as a
Well-
board, we'll decide?
Yes.
I wished I brought my paper in
So we'll get his name. We'll get
my
his
card,
name.
because I have a breakdown of what all it was. It's
Call
like
him.
$100,000. It tells how much this is. And it's really, you know, I got a copy of it.
I was
Now,
told before,
you-
excuse me, Donna,
What did they say to you? What's your name?
Dustin.
Dustin?
We met with the architect and the engineer,
Mhm.
and the engineer said he was gonna start drawing the papers up today. Hopefully have the stuff by Monday, to where they can go ahead and get it out for bid, and hopefully have something by the end of the month.
By the end of the month?
He said because the bid, with the bid process and everything, getting people to actually bid on it.
Well, I got a paper out there where it shows everything in the cost. I wish I brought it in, but I got that paper. But I want these things, and I'm so tired of Laurel being swept underneath the rug.
excuse me, Donna, I was told before the August meeting that the bids were being let out then. Now, I don't know why we haven't received something back on this thing.
Do we have that in minutes?
I have no idea either. Only thing I know is my last thing I was here, because where I was at the hospital with my daughter and my grandbaby, she said there was $325 or something thousand. That was supposed to go for a parking lot.
To do the work.
And so is it still in a separate account?
Still got the money.
Okay, right there we go. And then what money's left over, let's throw on that gym, hallway, and do the rooms. I mean, we deserve something nice.
I personally, again, I'm talking again, but I personally walked through there, and yeah, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I've also been in the other schools. I haven't been in Doe yet, but I agree. Laurel needs some work.
And you know,
Truly, it does.
and
I
it's a
mean,
nice school, you know. I'm not trying to be mean, but whenever, oh, what is his name? He was here, then he got in trouble because he did school board. What is his name?
Bishop?
Huh?
Bishop?
Larry Bishop. When he was here, I know for a fact, and he would say, this is how I did keep up with the maintenance. This month, here's this one. This month, here's this one. This month, here's this one. He had a maintenance thing. Now we don't have anything. It's just like, okay, swing to the left, swing to the right, hope you hit the right thing, get the right person. So I just don't know. I just don't know. The only thing I know is y'all need to shame yourself, and you need to think of Laurel just as high as the Queen's School, Mountain City. And we know that's just like the castle because of the money put in there. And things happening, and it wasn't, I don't think it was even finished on time, but that's beside the point. But what I know is Laurel needs to be the queen till everything is done. Now, I don't know about Doe, what all they have. I don't know, if the roof is finished completely to where it should be under standard, or the walls or anything, but I just know that Laurel needs to be the Queen's School. Right now. That's what I know.
I'll agree with.
And I want my kids to be proud, and I mean by my kids, all the kids. I want the parents, instead of saying, well, Donna, I don't know why you're doing this, because Russell's not going to help you. He's not hollering, and they're going to not do it. They're going to push you and keep you to where it's not going to be done. And some of them has hit the jackpot. So I want our school to be nice, and I want that RIT for the children. So,
Just know, Donna, that as we've been elected to speak for on behalf of the community, the children, the teachers, families, and everybody else, and the trust has been put into us, change is coming, and things need to be worked on. And I agree with you that this needs to be looked at, and every child and teacher should feel proud of their schools. They should. And as in the books, I've asked several people, besides, I haven't come up here yet, I haven't had time because I'm here now, so I'll have more access, but the books are an issue. I agree. When the books that I looked at were published in, let me get my memory, 2010. So it's 2014, and we've got 2010 published books on our shelves, okay? You can't tell me that we're teaching at the same level as the people around us. That's why I've been wanting a list of all books in our community. And I believe there was a law passed in June with books, with textbooks by the state of Tennessee. I have to refresh myself on that. So yes, I think as a whole, we all need to get a list of every piece of material that's used for our students, what year they were published, who was the publisher, are they aligned with who we are using for TCATs and everything else, because we need to prepare them. The big famous tests that decide what a kid can and can't do needs to be aligned with the books we're using, okay? So change is coming, okay? That's why we're here, that's why we're elected.
Well, I appreciate that, but I just want everybody to be honest. Don't lie. Don't make somebody, call you down. Don't lie. Just, no matter how much something hurts, just tell it. And I'll be like, okay, what can we do as a solution? But I will see you all next month.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you, Donna.
Thanks, Donna. All right, moving on. Do we have any recognition of visitors or delegations? All right. Next thing we need to do is approve the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve this agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve this agenda.
I have a motion by Mr. Holloway. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Griever. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Griever?
Yes.
Mr. Holloway?
Yes.
Ms. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Matheson?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes. Item number 6 is election of a chair and a vice chair, and you have the floor, Madam Director.
I now open the floor for nominations for board chairman.
I nominate John Holloway.
I'll nominate Chad Griever.
no second is needed, so I now close the floor and nominations will cease. And when the board secretary calls the roll, you need to respond by the name that you want to be the chairman.
Mr. Griever,
Myself.
Mr. Holloway,
Myself.
Ms. Klein,
John Holloway.
Mr. Matheson,
John Holloway.
Mr. Robinson.
I'll vote John Holloway as well. Mr. Holloway, you have the floor.
Thank you. All right, Paul, I want to say thank you very much, and I think that all our kid students need to be treated equally in all schools. I think that's something we need to look forward to and come to agreement with this board and work together and get our schools on equal playing ground for each one of them and get this stuff behind us and so we can move forward with our kids. That's what's more important to me than anything is our kids. Okay, first thing on the agenda is the
Chair.
vice chair. Should have brought my glasses. Chairman, I open the floor for nominations for vice chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Kim Klein.
Any other nominations?
I'll nominate Chad Griever.
Mr. Griever. Any more nominations? I move that the nomination cease. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Griever,
Mrs. Klein.
Mr. Holloway,
Mrs. Klein.
Ms. Klein,
Sure, me.
Mr. Matheson,
Ms. Klein.
Mr. Robinson.
Yeah, we'll just go with it and let's vote Miss Klein then.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, John, and everybody.
Thank you. Okay, next on there is number 7, the consent agenda. Does anybody want anything pulled off the consent agenda to talk about? Okay, I do. I would like to thank the people that's taking these kids on these school trips. That is a valuable teaching tool. And when I was teaching, I looked forward to take these kids out and show them what the world was all about and put them in these competitions. And they could grow from the competitions. And I'd just like to compliment the teachers and the staff that puts all this together, and the FFA does a wonderful job, and so does all the other teachers that takes them on these. I just thoroughly appreciate that, and I'd like to thank them. So,
I tell you what, I'm impressed by the FFA and the robotics and all this stuff that this was brought in. I'm very proud of the kids
And the moms
and the teachers that are doing that.
are from
Moms are
FFA for each one of y'all to take.
Oh,
And you have a newsletter as well.
yes. Do I hear a motion that we accept the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
second.
Second by Ms. Klein. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Griever,
Yes.
Mr. Holloway,
Yes.
Ms. Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Matheson,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Okay, number 8, we have a report from the school board member, Mr. Jackson Clifton.
All right, so here's my report for September. First, I wanted to highlight my favorite week of the year is Spirit Week. So our first day, which we missed Monday for Labor Day, and so Tuesday was bring anything but a backpack. So we had, you can see a dishwasher rack, a janitor's cart, a cooler, and there was, I didn't get a picture of it, there was actually a squatted shopping cart, which was not something I thought I would ever see, but that was probably the most unique one. And then on Wednesday, we had Act Your Age. So our freshmen dressed as babies, our sophomores dressed as toddlers, juniors were adults, and then seniors were senior citizens. And there was a lot of walkers and canes through the hallways, so it took a little bit longer to get to your classes that day. Then we have Pajama Day on Thursday, which is always comfy. I liked Juan right there. He had the whole candlestick and nightgown and cap and everything. He looked like he was ready for the night before Christmas. And then finally, Friday, we had our Maroon and White Spirit Day, as well as our student section had a beach theme there. Then we had our beautiful homecoming court, and there's Mimi Zaldivar is our homecoming queen for this year. So a lot of fun. All the students love homecoming so much. So that was a great week we had. And then upcoming sports in September, we have a couple home games for volleyball. Those are going to be on the 16th, 17th, 19th, 23rd, and 30th. For football, we have a game tomorrow is going to be at Cloudland. There's the 20th versus South Ashe County, and the 27th at versus Gatlinburg and Pittman. And then golf has their match at Warriors Path on the 16th. And then just a couple other things. The 27th is going to be the high school's Powder Puff game, and then the blood drive is going to be happening on the 17th. And if you wanted to, whenever you go to donate blood up there, if you wanted to donate in my name, I would greatly appreciate that. Anyone watching online too, that would be great. Thank you so much. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Number 9, the 5-year plan update.
It's just an update from the 5-year plan. We will continue to utilize online courses and trainings for all employees. There are several required trainings. There's now 8 that all employees are required to do every year, and we have to keep a record of that. So we use, it's called AccuTrain. It's online courses for our employees to complete those. All but one, the de-escalation training, that is a new training that the state law passed in July, and it will be provided by the Tennessee Department of Safety. They have not released that yet. So the other 7, all the employees have went through. So I just wanted to give you a list of the required courses by law that all employees are required to take.
On an annual basis.
On an annual basis, every year.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion in regards to this that we bring assemblies back in the school. I have talked to administrators for several years now, and as a parent, and I was always told that kids don't pay attention, it's a waste of time, they won't listen, blah, 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 blah. I can tell you this, if you bring people in that are interesting, that are talking about real topics that these kids are facing, then absolutely 100% they'll listen, because I still remember assemblies from when I was a child. With all the issues of suicide attempts, suicide in our county, which it's happening, I think we need to reach them at a visceral, tangible level. I think we need to bring in families that are suffering after the loss, friends that have been impacted by the loss, people that can talk to these kids and let them know that it's not, there's hope. Every day there is hope, and they are not alone. And I believe it needs to be brought in forefront, and if there's too many, you think they won't pay attention, then you do it by grade level. You do 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. I think it's very important that we bring to light the dangers of social media, which adds to a lot of childhood depression because they look on Facebook, they look on Instagram, and whatever else there is. I don't know. I don't mess with them. I have them, but I don't even know how to work them, which is ridiculous, but whatever. These kids are seeing this stuff and thinking it's real life. It's not. You see people's highlights, okay? And then that leads to depression. And when their parents aren't there because they're working, I had to work a lot. I went to school a lot. I'm thankful it wasn't around so much when my kids were growing up. Now it's life. And I think as educators and board members and just humans and parents that we need to be there for these children. The grandparents and great-grandparents that are raising these kids, they have no idea. Little Bobby's just being a good little youngin'. He's hanging out in his room or over on the couch. They need to know the importance if they share pictures on the social media. It'll take on when they go to look for jobs. That stuff can be found, okay? They need to know just because they think this is some hot little guy on the other end, it may be Bubba, okay? And they don't understand that. Catfishing. Not so long ago, about 2 years ago, I believe that the cop in Damascus used to be like a highway patrol for a minute or two, and he had already prepared a house. He had bought a house, blacked out the windows, went out to, was it California? They shot him down finally after he slaughtered the kid's family.
Yeah.
So and that's actually when I went and talked to some administrators. And I was told it was no big deal. I said, it just happened less than 30 minutes away. So we, as adults, we need to get with the sheriff's department, the SROs, we need an active engagement with these guys. And one more thing, I know I'm gonna shut up real quick because I've talked a lot today, but I want a floor with the children. I want at least middle school and high school. I want the board members to give them maybe once a month or quarterly or something where we're in the gym with them with tables and they can come in with us. We'll come in and talk to them. Hey guys, what's up? You know what? You can talk to us in person at this table over here, or if you just want to raise your hand, if you want it to be in private, because we don't work just for them. The kids are the school system. Okay? So the kids need access to us. Okay? That's who needs access to us. Sometimes these kids don't have parents that are come sit here. Grandma and grandpa can't drive at night. We got to meet them where they're at, if that's okay with you guys. I make a motion for assemblies to be brought back and board meetings with the children.
Okay, that's a form of motion. I hear a second on that.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Greenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Holloway,
Yes.
Ms. Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Matheson,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
One other thing on about that, I would like to see an ROTC program brought in this county too, or a junior ROTC program. I know we're working on it.
Get that armory. Well,
That is,
Mr. Chairman, I'd
Yes, sir.
like to make, I was addressed by a employee of the county about, before school started, we lost a young student. But said when the school day started, there was no counselors there to work with them.
there was,
And she stated that there was about 15 kids during that time frame had threatened to take their own lives. And she wanted to know why we didn't have counselors
there was several there that day. Right, Dr.
to address
How
the
many did you
situation with these kids.
Our school counselor, and then we also have another school counselor in the building who's doing a different job of the college and career, but that's two. And then,
But our school
then
counselors
we had
aren't.
Frontier
That's
Health
not the same.
Our-
counselor in the building, and then we also had enlisted the high school counselors to be
That came
available
over.
if needed.
Yes.
But our school counselors aren't qualified mental health counselors, they're school counselors. And if I understand correctly, don't we have one that we share between the middle school and the high school as
That's the
far
one I'm
as?
talking about from Frontier
Frontier
Health.
Health
Okay,
Yes.
so that's
Uh,
all the entire Hill has.
for mental health from Frontier Health is just the one. The
With an
others-
incident like that, though, don't you bring in some kind of specialized force, like task or group that comes in that deals with this sort of thing?
In the past, we've always just brought all of our counselors and the Frontier Health workers that we have.
So there was a bunch of counselors on site, and the kids all knew. The kids were aware that
Yes, and I think several of them too.
there was an announcement made that their counselors.
We would let the homeroom teachers tell their homerooms, that's what we did, but we did not make a public announcement on the PA.
But is that not unfair to
Wouldn't
the
you
school
wanna-
counselors to expect them to transfer into a mental health capacity type role when that's not what they're even remotely trained for?
They're not trained for that.
Yeah, how are we not addressing the school body? I mean, if we have a death of a young child, I remember that night we were talking about the teacher, and you said that you were kind of shocked that all this was happening because we had had the loss of the child. But I guess we're trying to figure out, what did you all as a school do for the child and their peers? Besides just having regular counselors?
To be honest, the students knew that the counselors were available, and our school counselor did see a couple of students, but to be honest, we were being very respectful of the family. And because the girls' siblings were in our building, and the mom specifically was caught wanting us to be cautious.
Okay, so her mom requested it.
For
Okay,
us to be
that makes a
cautious.
difference.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just as a whole, though, we're a tiny little school, and to be able to reach all of them, I would, say a moment of silence,
They do.
remembrance, moment of silence, and offering up for the whole counseling. Okay.
But the question I have is, how do you deal with these other kids that want to go commit suicide after that? What's being done about
But you
that?
address it and you talk them through their feelings, because if we don't talk about feelings, then that's when they build up and they feel that way. Trust me, I'm on the other end of other ones in the past, and those kids were looked over. And actually, when they came and talked to me, and I watched the age group, because again, I had been up at the school, my kids were there, it was an issue. I asked some administration, didn't get the great answer, and then I watched my children that came through my clinic. And I would watch the age group. And I knew they were coming behind. So you might hit the 8th, but at the same time, y'all got to realize we're a tiny, tiny little school system. They all ride the bus together. They're all neighbors. They go to church together. They're all on the hill. So if something happens in 8th grade, that also affects 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and maybe even elementary at that point. So we got to let them know that we're there for them so they can talk. So if they don't have anybody to talk to, that's when you build up all those depressions and thoughts themselves.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to help these kids.
Any other comments? Okay, item number 10, approve the purchase of 3 copiers of Canon Solutions, American Johnson County High School, State of Tennessee, contract number 62117.
Yes, and these will be purchased by the high school, and they are off of the state contract. It's just copiers that they need.
I hear a motion to accept this.
I'll make that motion.
Motion's made by Mr. Robson. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Mattson, second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Griever,
Yes.
Mr. Holloway,
Yes.
Ms. Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Matheson,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Item number 11, first reading of the TSBA required changes for the following policies. Policy number 4-600 grading system, public chapter 1005, prohibiting, I didn't bring my glasses, I'm sorry. Creating of the local grading policy procedures and establish a minimum grading above 0. Policy number 4700, testing procedure. State Board of Education updates the regulations of 0520-01-03-03 in the August meeting. Revised lower the potential weighting of the end of course scores. Previously, the board could select from the range of 15 to 25%. Once the new regulations are in effect, the range will be from 5 to 15%. Testing teachers will give a survey. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on. With the 15% of all testing subjects from grades 3 through 12.
On the first policy, 4.600, that is a public chapter that changed, and what that's saying is you can't have a policy of establishing a minimum grade. That means, for example, you can't say that no student in your class can make a 0. That's never been an issue in Johnson County schools, but there has been an issue in some schools across the state. So that's a public chapter law, and that had to be added to the policy, and it's just the word saying that you can't have a policy establishing minimum grades. In policy 4.700, testing programs, the state board has changed its regulation on what it can count for. In the past, you could choose anything from 5 to 25%. We're very consistent with what we choose, and we choose the same for TCAP and EOCs. In the past, it was 25%. I did do a survey of all tested teachers, and the survey was very unanimous that I think it was 85% wanted it to be at 15%. So we're asking for our board policy to be changed to 15% based on what the tested teachers had said they would like for that to be. And that is a portion of their final grade. That's by state law, that has to be a portion of their final grade.
Personally, I would like to be able to read over that before I put a vote in on
Well,
it.
this is first reading.
Okay, yeah, because I don't.
There's always 2 readings.
Will we be able to work section or something discuss this kind of stuff together?
I mean, if you want to.
I think when it comes to policies that important, that almost needs to be a meeting amongst board members.
Well, for example, for the first one, that is public chapter, that's state law, so we have to do that one. For the second one, there is a flexibility of 5 to 15%, but that's why, I surveyed the tested teachers to see what their input was. But if you want to do a work
The
session.
tested teachers, meaning?
The teachers that teach the TCAP and EOCs. Because those are that's the portion that goes into the student's final grade,
Okay.
is in those.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, budget update, Ms. Lifford.
15%.
Okay, I laid documents at your seats, and the first one is the sales tax and property tax collection. And for August, it was $131,232, and it's up from last month and last year. Then you have your packet with the summary financial statement that lists all your budgeted, with 141, which is general purpose, 142, which is federal, 143, which is central cafeteria, and 145, which is Head Start. And if you look over this and you have any questions, please call me or come by and see me or whatever, if I can answer any questions on that. And then also, ESSER funds have ended, and those were all spent out. But recently, we got notification that there were some funds left, and they had to be spent by the end of September. But Ms. Wills, she went on, she wrote a grant, and she was able to receive $65,504.20. But this has to be spent by the end of September. Did the Gallopade, which is some supplemental materials for social studies, and she also requested 140 additional Chromebooks to add to the classrooms, and the state did approve this, but we have to use it before the end of September.
Now, what books was it you said?
The Gallopade helps with social studies.
Okay.
Is there a need for that, like a proven need? Are we bad in social studies?
We don't have a social studies textbook because it's been such a long time since that has come up for state textbook adoption. And so.
Wait a minute. Explain that. What do you mean it's taken so long to get a social studies book because it's not adopted?
So the state tells you when, the textbook adoption happens on a cycle. And they have changed that cycle several times, and social studies has not come up for adoption in a long time.
Like 14 years since they were
It's been
published?
a very long time.
What does the other schools do for that?
The exact same thing we do. They purchase supplemental materials, which Gallopade is, and I do think Gallopade will be on that next cycle whenever it is time for us to adopt. But, that's why we do try to purchase supplemental materials, because that textbook is very much outdated.
So is this talking about like what they call consumables?
It is. And that is something that we've used for the past several years, and the teachers do appreciate having that. And we have it this year, but since those funds were available, I was just trying to think ahead in a way that we could save the board money going into next year, because we have purchased those materials with grant funds for the past several years. And so I was gonna go ahead and order next year's books with this money, so that would not have to be a GP expense later, if
So like
that makes sense.
and with most of the ESSER, the 3 ESSER draws, I'm assuming this had certain restrictions as far as what it
Yes,
can and can't be used.
it has to be used, you have to spend so much for learning loss, and this does this is under that, because, students, we need supplemental materials for social studies.
So is this school-wide, like system-wide, that we
district-wide.
don't have social studies? Or what's being taught right now for social studies? If kids are enrolled in social studies, what's happening when they're in class?
It's not a tested grade, is it? Or a
It
tested
is for
subject?
6th grade, 6th through EOC at the high school, so we do purchase supplemental materials, and I can not speak necessarily to what middle school and high school purchase, because that's not necessarily my wheelhouse. But for elementary, we choose Gallopade, and then we also use iExcel. We use Newsela. There's several resources that we use to supplement for that curriculum, and then we're also part of the CER, and that houses lesson plans for every single standard that we teach for social studies, and those lessons have been vetted. So there are materials that we use to teach those standards. And that textbook cycle will be coming up.
So you're telling me all these schools in our region lack social study books?
they use supplemental materials because that textbook cycle has not been up for renewal in a long time.
And so, well,
That's a statewide.
I'll look at that law from June, because wasn't that something about having to get textbooks, or what was it? You probably know what it is, the
That's
textbook
the
law in
list.
June?
That's the list.
The list, it's published on our website.
Yeah.
Because what's up for adoption this year? Is it science?
Science.
Yes, and we desperately need those materials as well. It's been a long time since we've had a science adoption.
This supplemental material that you're talking about, does this meet the state's curriculum and teaching?
It does.
But if y'all would like to have a work session when we have policies to go more in depth with them, we can definitely do
Yeah,
that.
I would like to compare what the region is doing versus us. So all the kids that go from our school into college that are, and I'll just tell you, some of the smartest that have left here, I mean, I've had children in this system for 25 years and nobody was prepared. It just is what it is. And they were pretty much straight A students. But they get down there and they don't do well. And their peers give them a hard time.
Yeah.
Saying they're like, what are you doing? This is like a review for us. And our kids are like, we've never seen that. And these guys are like, we had that a year or two ago. So I want Johnson County at the same level as those other kids, Science Hill, Washington County, Kingsport, Chattanooga. I want our kids at the top of the educational bar. And as a system, it's our job to get them there. So whatever it takes to get them there is what we need to do. So I want to know what all of them people are using. I want a list of everything they're using, and I want a list of everything we're using from kindergarten up, even preschool. Are we doing as good as them? Are we giving the kids the resources they need? Or are we just getting by? Because if it's a money thing, I mean, we can look at the budget and cut corners in a lot of areas to improve upon the children's stuff.
Well, and along those lines too, as far as I understand, social studies isn't a tested subject up until 6th grade, but it's still important.
Oh,
It's
yes.
still important, especially at that age when they're so formative. I get it's not tested, but it's important.
Fourth graders don't even have a science book, from what I understand. Is that true? How do we teach school without a science book? How?
We depend on these supplemental resources.
Listen, there's enough money in this budget. There is no excuse. There is none. Zero excuse that this school system, I've seen the budget. There's no excuse for not having books for our children, because we can cut a lot of stuff out and purchase the stuff we need to make this right. So it doesn't make any sense to me. Yes, ma'am.
School nurse will call out every day, this one's sick, that one's sick. And you get them home, they're not sick.
I thought we had nurse practitioner telehealth. Are we doing that? So who's seeing the kids at school and they're having to leave school for no reason?
Is it a specific school?
Huh?
Is it a specific school?
Yes. It's every day just about.
Which school?
Middle school. She will call. Well, this is sick. Well, that's sick. No. Does she not know that a kid will play with your mind? And I can't understand why. If she's even a nurse, if she wants them at home, keep them at home. Because people can't afford to take them to a doctor every day. They can't. And I just wonder. And I've even sat down and talked to the lady. And she's not no more nurse than I am. At least I can tell when they are sick. But,
Miss Dunn, are you getting the option of seeing the nurse practitioner or the kids before they just call for y'all to pick them up?
yeah,
Are they seeing the nurse practitioner? Because I mean, they can charge your insurance like a doctor's visit. They take your insurance
Yes,
card,
she-
and it should be a doctor's visit.
well, she calls. Well, this one sick, that one sick. And, no, they're not sick. And if she can't tell that, let somebody else do it. Because that's the cost of, too. And you get there, the way she talks about dead, and they could run circles around this building all day. And then the parent gets in trouble if they don't send them to school. And then they're in trouble if they do. And that's not fair. So somebody needs to sit down and have a talk with her.
Okay, you guys want to have a special call meeting before the board meeting next month?
Yeah. Yeah, I make that motion that we, have a, call, session meeting. And Mr. Chairman, I'd also like to, maybe look over some of the contracts we have with the baseball or the athletics department. Some of those, if it's permissible.
Permissible.
I would like to
what
add
are-
on.
What are you, like, what are you talking about?
I'd like to see what their contracts are written up about.
I think there's a lot of contracts, I mean, really, with questions that have to be answered, I think we need to do a full review of contracts, and we need to kind of see, like, what happens in the main house that runs the big cog for all the wheels, like, who do we have and what, because as a new board member, I think we probably need to know positions, who does what, we need to walk through, we need to see how this stuff's run, I want to know what you make, what you do, what's your degree. Are you certified to be teaching this? I want to see a list I have lists, but I think it'd be beneficial for everybody to know what is everybody certified in, what is everybody's, what's your degree? Are you okay to be in that spot? You know, I think we should work on all of them, John, or sorry, Mr. Chairman.
I'm just John.
No,
I
no,
work for a
no.
living. Can we do that?
Yeah, so we're gonna do a workshop just to go over the policies, the ones that we're voting on for next week.
Yes.
And then you want contracts?
And kind of break down of central, like what does everybody do? What's their function? What do they do in a day? Are they, like what do they do? And are they qualified to do such? It goes along with the books. We want the best of the best of the best. And if you're lackluster and not doing your job and you're just here eating up our money and taking away from us being able to buy books, do you really need to be here? I mean, that's just my opinion.
Okay. We can do that.
Budget. Budget and best, right? Isn't that what we're here for?
Yep.
Best? I think so.
John, what time?
5 o'clock, okay, guys?
Fine with me.
What day?
The date?
It'll be the day of the board
The
meeting.
second Thursday of the
The
month,
12th?
I think it's the 12th.
I think is it the 11th?
before the next board meeting at 5 o'clock. Second Thursday of each month.
Well,
Yeah.
that would be the 11th,
Okay.
But,
12th, excuse me, 10th.
Right.
Okay.
It would be the 10th.
you talking about the 10th of October?
Yes.
There's gonna be a lot of content to try to
John,
cover.
can you make-
5 minutes to an hour.
Chad? I don't know why I'm gonna call
You
you
want to
John.
try earlier?
Chad,
Because
can
we're
you
used to
make it?
John being right here. The
Yeah,
last
if we
4
could, if we
years.
could do 5:15, it'd be so much simpler on me.
Hey,
Why not
Mr.
break it
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
could we make it about 5:30
It's like there's
for Mr. Griever, because he,
That's only going to give you 30 minutes before the board meeting.
I'll make it. I'll make it.
Is there another night that would be?
Yeah, did you prefer it a different day?
No, that's fine, I'll make it.
I want to think there's something.
You want to do it the week before?
will be,
I mean, it's gonna take some time.
yeah,
This
well,
is-
we
I'd
have,
say we better have us like a 2-hour work session at least on a different night of the week so we can come back and give everybody answers.
You wanna do it the week before? What's the week before Thursday?
You got, I'm out of town this week. Let's do it on the 8th.
On the 8th, October the 8th,
October the 8th at 5.
PM,
Can we make it at 5:30
5:30?
for Mr. Griever?
Is that good for you, Chad?
Yeah, that's good.
Yes. we can.
October 8th, at what time?
5:30.
5:30. Everybody
Yeah, I
agreeable
think
with
that's
that?
gonna take some time, so we can come back and have answers.
Anything else? I got one thing else to say, let's go Longhorns.
Yes, agree?
Okay.
I do want to just say welcome to Chad and Kim.
Thank you.
We look forward to working with you. And again, the mums are from the FFA. You did have your Head Start and Pre-K information in your packet. Today is Bus Driver Appreciation Day. So our bus drivers have been treated all day long, and we definitely appreciate them. They're the first thing our students see and the last thing they see when they get off the bus. So we have great bus drivers and assistants. Just to let you all know, especially the new ones, in October, you all will vote for a new TLR rep for TSBA. That's someone who gets the legislative updates, and you can bring that back and give that information to the board. I think currently, Joanne, it was Ms. Reese. So you all will vote on that in October, and that information is in your packet.
Oh, I have another question. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I know y'all want to go home. I do too. I gotta go back to work. But I have a concern. Some staff was wondering if they're not gonna be getting their fall bonus. Are they getting their fall bonus in October?
When is the fall bonus?
Anybody know?
Mr. Robinson actually sets the date.
We typically run it with.
When do they normally, when have they always got it? October, so when are
May
we,
have been November.
when are we slated this year?
Typically, we run it when we run career ladder, which is usually 1st of November.
Okay. Because somebody had said it was October, and then they said they had heard it may not be till November, December, so I just
No,
wanted
it'll
to.
be before December. It'll be sometime the month of November.
So that's normal.
That's normal. A lot of it is I have to look at payroll, not just the school system's payroll. I have to look at the county payroll to be able to fit it in. But we typically.
So it's not already budgeted in for the year?
No, it's budgeted. I have to fit it in time-wise.
Oh. So is the county budget done at the same time as the school budget?
County budget's done at the same time, but my office processes all the payroll for the county, not just the school system. So I have payroll. I have payroll constantly. Every week we have something going on, and I'll have to look at it to be able to figure out when we can do it.
But wait a minute. I'm just trying to learn this, Russell.
Okay.
So if it's not set for the school system, you can change it around if you want.
We're not changing anything. The budget. I'm just changing. What I'm saying is I have to fit it into our payroll cycles.
So it's not yearly revolving in the budget?
No, because the dates change because our payroll dates fluctuate.
Would it be possible to take a look at getting it to them in October prior to fall break?
Since so many are used to that.
Well, we've actually, the last couple of years, we've done it in November. Because what we typically do is we'll run career ladder, which is for the teachers that qualify for career ladder. They receive it twice a year. We'll usually run any bonus that the school system has at that time, and we'll also run any bonus that the county has at that time. What I'm trying to do is utilize, because every time we run a payroll, I get charged by the bank to process that file. So if I can combine them, that cuts down on that cost.
What's the cost?
I think we're up to about $30 a pop.
Just $30 to run payroll?
It's just $30 for them to process the direct deposit file.
Dude, that's cheap.
It is cheap.
Okay, so
But I want to be prudent with the taxpayers' money.
Oh yeah. One more question. I'm so sorry. I need clarification maybe at that next meeting what the difference is between certified staff. I understand that they have degrees, but why, as I'm looking at stuff I've been reading through prior to being elected, thank you for electing me anyway, but certified staff gets all this special stuff. They get a sponge, extra days, they get, I don't know what all, there's a lot. But what about the bus drivers and the custodians and the cooks and the assistants and everybody else? Why aren't they getting that? I don't understand what makes the certified get more benefits than just an employee. If you work for the state, the school system, why isn't it across the board that the cooks aren't getting that, and the bus drivers, custodians, like everybody, whoever, everybody. If you work for the school.
Give us an example of what you're talking about.
Well, I don't have it, you guys probably do, but certified staff. Everything is certified staff. The certified staff gets more days off a year, sick days, regular days.
They have a longer contract. They're a 200-day contract employee by the state. That's.
But like even custodians don't get days off, like snow days, they're still out there having to work in schools that are empty. Why?
Buildings still need to be cleaned. You got to make sure that nothing's.
There's a lot more. I'll ask about it later.
Yeah.
Because it seems like the certified staff gets a whole lot more than anybody else in the whole system. I'll highlight it all.
Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah,
I'll
please do.
highlight it. I got it at the house.
Okay.
On October the 5th, we are having our fall festival. If you would like to volunteer, you can volunteer to come and help. If you have anything that you'd like to bring, to donate, you can also do that. But we are going to do it October the 5th, and the children are so excited about it. And if you have anything, which Brenda didn't know I was going to say this, but give it to her, because, you know, and whatever you can help, if it's in the kitchen, or if it's, you know, with the hot dogs, or if it's with games, or if you can just, if you want to donate something, that would be wonderful. And we are going to start selling tickets, and our items are really, really good for our tickets. We have a grill, and we have a 50-inch TV. So we have some good items, and we have other items also to bid on. And I just want you to know this is one of the things not only the kids look forward to, but the community. It brings the community together.
I love Barbara.
And not only that, we use that money, she puts it back for the children. Everything that we do is for the kids. So there's no using the money just to be using it. So if you all can, I'd appreciate it. Come and, you know, enjoy and have a grilled hot dog, hamburger. I'm not for sure what all they're going to have. And, you know, just, and if you want to donate something, donate it.
You have a time frame on that?
Huh?
A time frame?
It's October the 5th.
The games start at 5.
The games start at 5.
At 7, the auction at 7:30, and usually finishes by about 9.
And the King and Queens at 7, and then after that we do the auction. And our auctions is usually good, and a lot of people realizes that, and you know, we're going to work at it, you know, and that's why, you know, I'm there like we want to get this stuff done at Laurel, because we've got big things.
How many cakes do y'all normally need for that? Like for the cake walk, how many do you think you need for that donated?
45 to 50 at least.
If not more, because they will walk to 12 o'clock midnight.
So we need our community to step up and bring cakes.
Yeah, because I'm just going to tell you that the same people, they walk, and it's hard to jump in there with a number, and they walk, and the tickets are a quarter, right, Miss Eggers? The tickets are a quarter, right?
Each ticket, but different events cost a varying number of tickets.
So, you know, they're a quarter, but you have to give so many for each event. But still, you know, I'm looking for a big turnout, and I'm looking for the kids to have fun, because I know my little one's going to have fun, and I'll have another one stuffed in what I call my kangaroo pouch or in a stroller, and we're going to have fun. And the kids, they love it. And whenever I was there at some of the kindergarten and the preschool, they were talking about this. And this is why it's so important, and it's for the children. So they were like, "Are you going to come?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am."
It's my favorite thing when my kids were little. I remember real quick, one more thing, I'm going to shut up, I promise. I remember Russell or Michelle, whoever asked me that, I remember one of the things that caught my eye about certified versus uncertified.
Mhm.
Certified staff's children get to go at a 25% discount of state tuition, is that correct?
That's a state law. Yeah, that's a state law.
So it's a state level?
That's a state law, yeah.
It's for the state, it's always been.
Okay.
It's always been.
So that is one thing, but the rest of this, I don't believe is state level that I'm thinking about. I believe it's a Johnson County thing, but I'll get back with you.
No, that their tuition, yeah, that's.
No, that's okay, there's a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Just get with me.
Okay, thank you. So the state tuition, that's a state law,
Anything else?
25%.
Do I hear a motion, we adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Rawson made the motion, I hear a second.
Second,
We are adjourned.
state law, 20.